Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. If you are new, if you are not new, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marina and happy freaking new year. It is 2026. And even saying that out loud sounds crazy because I feel like 2025 went by in like the blink of an eye. I don't know how we're in a new year, but that's not what this video is about. I kind of want to talk about 2025. I want to talk about my reading stats. I want to talk about a few of the books that I read that kind of made my year a pretty decent reading year. Last year, I wanted to try new things with my reading and I wanted to get more out of my comfort zone, and I set some goals at the beginning of the year. Some of them I stuck to, some of them I didn't. We don't need to talk about that. But all in all, I think I did a pretty good job of trying to stick to those goals. While doing that, I ended up reading some pretty good books. I didn't reach my reading goal, which is really freaking sad, but that's okay, because I did end up reading a fair amount of books. Now I'm going to talk to you guys about them. We're going to go through my storygraph stats so we can look at my overview of 2025 in terms of reading. I think this would be fun. Last year I went through my storygraph with you guys and I think that was just a really quick, fun, easy way to go through 2025 and the year and just see how my reading changed throughout the year, if it changed at all. And I just want to see what that looks like, because I totally forgot to go through my storygraph wrapped that they posted, I think on New Year's Eve. I haven't gone through it yet. I wanted to save it for this video, but I've been very busy the past few days. So now I can finally like sit down and talk to you guys about it. Yay. So let me see what it's looking like. Okay, so opening up storygraph. Always fun. If you guys would like to follow me on storygraph, you definitely can. This is where I post everything regarding my reading, whether it be my reviews, my actual like reading journals, like thoughts that I put about the books that I read and stuff like that, my book recommendations. They're all in my storygraph. So if you would like to follow me, it's always there, link in the description below. But we're gonna go through 2025 reading wrap up. Like I said, I haven't gone through it yet, so I'm very excited. So as you can see at the top, it says that I read 43 books across 13,893 pages. Whenever it's put in that way, I always think about how much I've read this year. The fact that I read over 10,000 pages is crazy, but the fact that I read over 13,000, almost to 15,000, absolutely insane. This is why I'm like, book counts, book goals, like reading goals, those are fun, but like when you see it in retrospect with the amount of pages you read a year, that's still a lot of pages. So though I did not make it to 50 books this year, I think that's a really, really good reading achievement. My first book of the year was T. Kingfisher's Thorn Hedge, if you guys remember that. I had a lot of thoughts and opinions. That was my first T. Kingfisher book, and still to this day the only T. Kingfisher book I've read. I would like to read more of her stuff, but I really don't know where to start because she's got a lot of books and I feel like I need to ease my way into her stuff, but I don't really know what's good and what's not. So if you guys have read T. Kingfisher, let me know what you recommend. And then the last book I read this year was A Love Letter to Whiskey. Guys, I read this like on the day of Christmas. Like I think I read this Christmas Eve and Christmas Day in like the span of 2 days, and I haven't really read anything since. I mean, I picked up a few books since, but I haven't completed any other books since, obviously. Hence it being the last book of the year. If you guys want me to give like an overview of all the books I've read this year, I will definitely do so, because I haven't done a reading wrap up in like 3 months. Yeah, if you guys would like to know my thoughts and feelings on the books I read, let me know and I will make a video like that. As you guys know, I had an end of the year TBR and I didn't get to all of the books from that video that I made, but A Love Letter to Whiskey was one of the ones I did get to, and my god, I think I do want to talk about this book. Not in this video, but I do want to talk about the books I read towards the end of the year because they're all so different, like vastly different, and put me in many different moods. And I don't know if reading A Love Letter to Whiskey was the best thing to do for my mental and emotional health at the end of the year, but that's what I did. I read it and I definitely have thoughts. A mood map of your reading. So I was reading a lot of dark books towards the beginning of the year. That makes sense. I was reading like a lot of, no, I wouldn't say a lot, like a fair amount of just like really dark, heavy books at the beginning of the year, specifically the type of classics I would read. I think that's especially why that side of the graph is pulled down a bit for my mood map. And then as you can see towards later in the year, I started to read a lot more lighter things because that's what my brain could handle at the time, especially because during the summer I didn't read much. So I feel like I needed to like get back into reading by just reading like lighter stuff. So nothing about this map surprises me. I don't remember there being a mood map in last year's Reading Wrapped. So this is new, I think. I'm pretty sure. You felt every heartbeat on the page, found plenty of reasons to smile, and drifted through breezy feel-good reads. A steady rhythm of stories kept the year moving along nicely. So true. Books and pages read per month in 2025. Oh, wait, what? Sorry. Okay, so in blue, it's the books I've read, and red, the color red, is the pages I have read. So as you guys can see, again, the months of summer, I read basically nothing. Like, you see that pivot down? Yeah, I didn't read much of anything. Same with November. Didn't really read much of anything. That's crazy. Summer was such a busy time. You guys already know this. I'm not going to explain. November, however, I was so confused. I thought I was going to read a lot of November, and I didn't. And it's very sad to me. Though I did pick it up a little bit in December, as you guys can see. I read the most amount of pages in March. What the heck was I doing in March, I wonder? I read apparently 10 books in March. That's wild. Okay, if I could recall the books, that would be nice, but I don't remember. Like, the first half of the year for my reading is very much a blur. I feel like I say this every single reading wrap up that I do at the end of the year, but if anyone remembers what they read in the first half of the year, you are literally God's favorite, because it might just be because of how many books I read in a year, but I feel like they all kind of start to blend together towards like the second half of the year. Me accomplishing 10 books in a month this year is crazy. I really don't remember doing that. The genre you spent the most time with in 2025. I see. Romance, contemporary, LGBTQIA, literary, and young adult. Okay. I read 22 romances this year. That's wild. I read 17 contemporary, 8 LGBTQIA, 8 literary, and 8 young adult. The longest book I read was Oathbound by Tracy Deonn, because who's surprised? That was 650 pages. And I think I read that in the span of like 3 days. So again, go me. That's the thing though. I remember, I feel like it was April I read the most, because April, a lot of my most anticipated releases came out that month. But maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, because apparently, according to Storygraph, I read a lot of books in March. Like, I haven't felt that excited about reading in so long, which is why I like doing anticipated releases, videos, and lists, because it really does give me something to look forward to when I'm especially in a reading slump. You guys know my feelings about Oathbound if you watched my almost 2-hour-long reading vlog for it. That was a time and a half. I'm actually about to do a reread of Bloodmarked, because my friend, I recommended him Legendborn, and he's read the first one, but he has a special request for me to annotate Bloodmarked for him, and his birthday's coming up. So I am about to do that like in a few days. I'm currently in the middle of like 2 books right now, so I'm not starting it anytime this week, but I think like in a few days I'm gonna start rereading Bloodmarked, and that's gonna be so much fun. I'm very excited for that. Shortest book I read was White Nights by Fyodor Dostoevsky. Wow, what a time. What a time. This book, I highly recommend it. It's only 80 pages. It was my first ever Dostoevsky book, and I just wanted to read it to see what his vibe is, because I couldn't really get a read on him. I know that he's also written like Crime and Punishment and like many other books, but I wanted to start off small. I feel like whenever you're like first reading a very popular classics author, you should start off with their smallest one so you can figure out if you like their writing or not. A lot of his books are long as heck, and so I read this one just to see if I would like his stuff, and I think I do. He's a very atmospheric writer in the sense where like this book, the only plot in it is just yearning, like a lot of yearning from the main character who just wants to be accepted. And I really felt that, but like mostly like the mood and the atmosphere of the story had me drawn in more so than anything else. And I think if you are interested in reading Dostoevsky, you should definitely read this one first, just to get a sense of what he might give you. The average length of the books you read was 334 pages, and it took you around 10 days to finish each book. Yeah, I think that reading a book in 10 days is fair. But I had a lot going on this year, which is why I had to constantly put books down, pick them back up again days later, and etc, etc. Least time spent reading a book, Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher. Yeah, because this is a novella and it's like 200 pages. and I think I read it like the first day of the year. So that's why it took me the least time spent. It took me a day. And the most time spent reading a book, Can't Get Enough by Kennedy Ryan. You guys remember when I picked this book up in I think like May or June. I picked it up like within a week when it first came out, and then I don't think I finished it until September when I mentioned it in my reading wrap up for that month. Yeah, this was a good example of me picking up a book, putting it down, picking up a book, putting it down. Any book that I wanted to read during the summer, I just did not get to until September, which is fine. But because of that, it took me 83 days to finish this. And I forgot that I had it logged in on Storygraph. I usually, when I pick up a book and put it down like that, I usually pause it on Storygraph. So like it won't pick up that data. But I guess I forgot to do it for Can't Get Enough. So it tracked me reading this book over the course of 83 days. The authors you spent the most time with in 2025. Liz Tomford. Yeah, we already knew that. And I'm going to be spending more time with her next year, bet. You betcha. If you saw my anticipated releases video for 2026 video, you already know Liz Tomford and she can't get rid of me even if she wanted to. She's releasing another book this year. I'm going to be first in line to get it. I'm not even joking. And then of course, Tracy Deonn. I reread Legendborn and Bloodmarked to prepare for Oathbound, so that makes perfect sense to me. And then Krista and Becca Ritchie technically. I read the first 3 books of the Addicted series, reread them. Again, nothing surprising to me. Liz Tomford being like first on this list though. I have to chuckle. I'm still not over the series and the fact that it's over. So I'm laughing through the pain. You were part of one completed buddy read. So 2% of your 2025 reading was shared with friends. That's fun. I have it as one of my goals this year to be a part of more Storygraph reading challenges, because the one buddy read that they're talking about is the one I did for Oathbound. Me and like a group of mutuals I have on this app all read Oathbound together, and it was like a really fun time. I would highly recommend it if you guys would like to do like buddy reads or anything. Storygraph is like definitely the perfect place to do it. I want to get into more Storygraph reading challenges because they post them like damn near monthly. I know that there's one going on right now in January and I forgot to sign up. I'll do it after I am done recording this video. Yeah, I feel like doing challenges through Storygraph is definitely going to help me keep up the momentum of my reading throughout the year without having too much pressure on me if I don't or if I do. You know, if you guys want me to make a video for my reading goals, let me know. I started making it like last week, like literally like I think the day before New Year's Eve. I usually plan them out weeks in advance, but this year really did sneak up on me, so I didn't have any goals made until really last minute, like before the clock struck 12 last minute. But the list is done. If you guys want me to make a video sharing all of my reading goals like I did for 2025, I definitely can. Next up, we have 2025's average rating, which was a 4.01 star. I feel like this is not accurate. Like I'm kind of confused. I can like maybe count on one hand the amount of books that gave me like 4 stars or over, like genuinely. That was another thing I wanted to do in 2026 was be a lot more critical of the books I read. Like when I analyze a book while reading it, I want to think critically about what I'm reading and not just give any book like over 3 or 4 stars just because I enjoyed it, you know? Like, yes, I'm a mood reader, so like if the book is something that I'm vibing with, I will tend to probably give it like 4 stars, but I do want to analyze what I'm reading more in 2026, so this kind of just smacked me in the face with that. I'm gonna make sure to do that more. 2025 5-star reads. Legendborn, Spy Family Volume 1, One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, Hirosiyami, Volume 1, Play Along by Liz Tomford, and Chain Gang All Stars. You guys know Legendborn, it's never not going to get a 5-star. Every time I read it, I have to give it a 5-star. That's like the only book in the Legendborn series I feel like that is rightfully deserved of a 5-star, in my personal opinion. And then Spy Family Volume 1, I meant to continue that series in 2025. I don't know why I didn't. I have watched the anime, so I already know about the story and the characters and such, but I meant to like actually continue reading the manga series because I picked it up and I really liked it, hence why I gave it a 5-star. Noted in the back of my mind to do that. And then One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This. I think that book is honestly, no, I don't think, I know that book is my favorite read of 2025. One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This is by one of my favorite journalists, Omar El-Akkad, and he just knocked it out the ballpark with this. I highly recommend everyone read it. If you guys have seen my review for it, I think I read it like way in the beginning of the year. It's one of the few books I remember reading in the first half of 2025, and the impact that book had on me, I would recommend it to anyone. Hirasumi is a manga series that my coworker recommended, and I didn't really think much of it when I picked it up, and then I ended up loving it. So it's another one that I need to continue. I think I only read the first 2 volumes, but volume 1, so good. Such a like fresh vibe to a manga. Like, I need to read more slice of life manga, I think that's more my style. Play Along by Liz Humford, I do think is still my favorite book in the Windy City series. I'm pretty sure. It's the only one I gave 5 stars. It's the only one. And I, again, recently finished the last book in that series, and it was so close to getting a 5-star, but it couldn't beat it. It couldn't beat it. And then Chain Gang All-Stars, also one of the highlights of my year. Definitely a tearjerker, but it was just amazing. Another book that I would highly recommend. Year 2025 ratings. I rated 1 book 2 stars, 4 books 3 stars, 6 books 3.5, 3 books 3.75, 15 books 4 stars, 7 books 4.5, 1 book 4.75, and 6 books 5 stars. I really think me rating all those books 4 stars is crazy, because I feel like I didn't read that many 4 stars this year. But the fact that I rated like 15 books 4 stars, I mean, that's good. Like, if I enjoyed them in the moment enough to give them that high of a rating, that's great. But I can't fathom giving that many books 4 stars. I mean, maybe I did. I guess I did. The proof is in the pudding. It's right there. That's still crazy to me though. Some months were better than others. Okay, here we go. Turns out May wasn't your favorite month with an average rating of 3.69. June, highest average rating of 5.0 stars. And then March was my most pages read. I read 2,946 pages. Other storygraph users in your 2025 reads. Over 500,000 users also read The Picture of Dorian Gray this year. That's interesting. It was the most shelved book. That's really interesting. Okay, I also read Picture of Dorian Gray. I did not mention this book this year. Not because I didn't love it. I absolutely did. I gave it 4 stars, and that one was a rightfully deserved 4-star. I really loved that book. I read it in October, and if you guys don't remember, I mentioned it in a video where I only read 2 books that month, and they were both classics. I read The Picture of Dorian Gray and I read Frankenstein, both amazing classics. But I didn't really give a review of them. And then the least shelved book. That's funny. Okay, so I totally forgot that this would appear on my storygraph. I read the Batman / Elmer Fudd comic. This was the same coworker that I recommended to read Legendborn asked me to read this comic, and it's basically, it's what it sounds like. It's Elmer Fudd from Looney Tunes and Batman working together to fight crime in this really short comic. It's like 2 short stories, and it's funny as heck. I am not surprised that it's the least shelved thing from what I've read this year, because I did not know this existed. And I need more people to know this exists, because it was actually really funny. The friend that I recommended this to, he's really into comics and stuff, and he's been trying to ease me into more comics this year. It's slowly but surely working, but this one was so random that I had to give it 4 stars. Are you kidding? This one was really, really funny, and it did what it needed to do. Again, it's not long. It's like maybe in total like 60 pages. Go read it if you have not already. Highly recommend it. And then One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This by Omar El-Akkad. Highest rated book according to other storygraph users and myself. The average rating for it was a 4.71. My rating was a 5-star because everyone should read it. It's not surprising, again, that this is like everyone's highest rated from other people that have read this year. It's just that excellent. Like, I really do think if you haven't picked it up, you should, especially because of the political climate of the US and what's going on worldwide. I think that this will open up a lot of people's eyes to stuff that they might be familiar with already, might not be. Just give it a chance. This one also is not that long either. One Day Everyone Will Have Always Been Against This, I think is around 200 to 300 pages. Go check it out. Okay, you explored the world of 24 new authors, including Lewis Carroll, Zakiya and Jamal, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. I'm never gonna get used to pronouncing his name. I really wanted to read more authors this past year. 2025 was kind of my year of just, again, dipping my toes into something new, whether it be genre wise, authors, whatever. And I'm glad that I did that. I read 24 new authors. That's really, really good. I'm really proud of myself. 27 of the books you read were part of a series. Yes, you revisited a total of 2 books this year. Legendborn and Bury Our Nights in the Midnight Soil. So fun fact, I actually did not finish Bury Our Nights in the Midnight Soil. I was reading it on audio because I got an audio arc for it, and I don't know if it was just like the story or the narration, but I was so bored reading that book and I did not finish it. I think I DNF'd this book, this one and like a few others this year. I don't know if they'll show me a list of the books I DNF'd, but this one was not getting read. And I don't know why it said I revisited 2 books this year. Maybe because I paused it and then unpaused it on Storygraph multiple times. So I revisited it, I guess, in that sense, but it wasn't a reread. It was just because I couldn't finish it. Like I had to continue to pause it and unpause it. And it went on like that for 2 months. So yeah, I never actually finished this book. I actually deleted it from my storage like this morning, I think, because I started a different audiobook and I needed to delete other downloads in order to download it, so I deleted this one. You did not finish one of the books you picked up this year. Wait, I'm confused. Are they saying that Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil is the one book I didn't finish, or one of the 2 books I revisited this year? And also, I DNF'd more books than this. I DNF'd like, I think 4 other books, but maybe I just didn't log them into Storygraph correctly. I'm like really bad at doing that sometimes. Maybe I just did not log them in correctly. Wouldn't put it past me. Like I said, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil was not getting finished this year, and it makes me sad because I really want to get into V. Schwab, but I feel like that's the wrong book to do it. You read 11 books from your own shelves this year. Great. Great. I thought it'd be more, I'm not gonna lie. I need to read more on my shelves. You guys know this. 2025 at a glance. Crazy. This is so much. Like in hindsight, being able to see how much you've read, like this is a good amount of books. I'm not one of those people that harps on how much I've read and compares it to other people. I think those people are miserable and need to get a life. I'm like proud of what I've read. And I feel like everyone should be proud of the amount they read as long as they read something this year. And this is looking very satisfying to me. Now, mind you, not all of these were like 5 out of 5 star reads, like life-changing. But, you know, this year could have been worse for my reading. Like looking at all of these, not terrible. The only book I'd say that I have terrible flashbacks of is A Deadly Education, but I don't need to get started on that. You guys already know my feelings about that wretched book. But yeah, that's it. Now let's see my actual Storygraph stats. 43 books, average time to finish 10 days, like it was said. Moods, so this is going into the specifics. So this is what Storygraph stats usually looks like. What I was doing before that was like the 2025 reading wrapped thing that they make. This is how the stats usually look. So this is a deeper look at my mood chart that you guys saw. So it looks like over 25 books I read were emotional. A lot of the books I read were funny and lighthearted, yada yada yada. The pace of books I read mostly consisted of medium pace books. And then page number, we already know this. 60% of what I read, 499 pages, sorry. And I read 7% nonfiction, 93% fiction. You know what? Better than nothing. Genres, yeah, this goes into more specific. So I mostly read romance, but as you guys could see, I read like a decent amount of a lot. Like, yeah, romance, contemporary, LGBTQIA, that's what I read the most. But like, I kind of dipped my toes into a lot of different genres this year, which again, very proud of. Format, I read a little bit of audio, a lot digital, and a lot print. Cool. 14 hours audio. I can guarantee you that the 14 hours on audio are just from Bury Our Nights in the Midnight Soil. I can guarantee that book took up a lot of my time. It's a very long audiobook, to be fair, but also it just took up so much of my time. that it just pushed me away from audiobooks altogether, because I'm not really an audiobook person, simply because like I'm like visually inclined to read a book more so than audibly. Like that's the best way I can take in information, is if I can read what's on the page. But I want to get into more audiobooks this year, because I feel like everyone always talks about how like audiobooks are such an immersive experience, and like some narrators are just really good at their job, and I want to experience that. I feel like, again, Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil was not the best way of trying to figure out if I like it or not, because that book is so long. So I'm currently trying it with a different book. I'm actually trying it with So Old So Young, or So Young So Old by Grant Ginder. You guys know that's one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and I got an ARC for the audiobook, and I'm currently reading that and enjoying it. I'm like 15% into it though, so I'll let you guys know how that's going later in the month. Yeah, I would like to get into more audiobooks this year. Most read authors: Liz Tom Ford, Krista and Becca Ritchie. I don't know why Krista has more than Becca. They write these books together, like they're co-authors, so that's weird. Rachel Reed being on here is so funny. I read 2 books from the Game Changer series, because just like everyone else, I have also been obsessed with Heated Rivalry, so the fact that she's in here is really, really funny to me. And yeah, that's it. That's how my 2025 looked on Storygraph. Yay! If you guys enjoyed this, thank you so much. I would love to know how your reading in 2025 went. What was your favorite read, worst read? Like I said, if you guys want me to go over the books I've read, the best and the worst of them, let me know in the comments and I'll make a video for it. But I do really like this way of explaining like how my year was in reading, because I feel like Storygraph just makes it so easy to explain with all of the stats and charts and graphics that they make. But yeah, if you guys want me to actually go in depth about my opinions for the books that I liked and disliked this year, I will do that. But yeah, let me know if you guys had a good reading year like I did, if there were any misses, or did you find your favorite book in 2025? I'm still looking for a book to wow me this year. Like I said, it's been a while since I've had that feeling when reading a book, and I'm hoping that I can find it in 2026, but we'll just have to see. I did a pretty like average job of accomplishing my goals last year for my reading, but this year I have a one-track mindset when it comes to how I want to read, what I want to read, etc., etc. So if you guys want to know the details about it, I can also make a video for that too. But on that note, I think that's it. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye everyone.